Super Mario Galaxy. It's not just a game. For a whole generation of us, it's a core gaming memory. It's a title I've gone back to more times than I can count. Heck, I even made a walkthrough of the entire game already. A masterpiece of imagination that completely redefined what a 3D platformer could be. But I've always had this nagging question. How do the boss battles really hold up? If you strip away the nostalgia, are they still epic encounters? Or are they just cosmic speed bumps on the way to the next grand star? So I decided to find out. I took on a cosmic quest, replaying and analyzing every single boss fight in Super Mario Galaxy, from the laughably easy to the truly epic. I ranked them all based on difficulty, spectacle, and pure creativity. Today, we're counting them down from the absolute worst to the undisputed best to finally settle the score. Now, this is my opinion, so it's bound to be different from yours. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love to see your rankings, but let's get started. Coming in at the very bottom of the heap, the absolute rock bottom of the galactic threats, we have the Mandibug Stack. Honestly, calling this a boss feels like an insult to every other name on this list. It's less of a fight and more of a glorified Goomba stomping exercise. You walk into a small arena and you're met with a stack of 2 bugs. 2. That's it. There's no spectacle, there's no creativity, and there is certainly no difficulty. You do a single ground pound to get rid of the top bug, and then a second one to finish the job. The entire fight can be over in less than 10 seconds. It's so insignificant that it feels more like the game is checking to make sure you know how the ground pound works. The game barely acknowledges it as a boss, and frankly neither will we. It's the filler content of the cosmos, a brief, buggy interruption that barely even registers. For being nothing more than a glorified tutorial, the Mandibug Stack probably takes its place as the worst boss in Super Mario Galaxy. Just barely crawling out of last place is the Undergrunt Gunner. This reoccurring mini-boss shows up 3 times, and each appearance is just as uninspired as the last. The Undergrunt Gunner is basically a mole in a little cannon who pops out of the ground to shoot stuff at you. Your job is to wait for him to pop up, then jump on his head. It's a concept as old as arcade games. Just a simple game of whack-a-mole with a fresh coat of cosmic paint. The first encounter is painfully simple. The second adds an electric floor, which adds a tiny layer of challenge, but the strategy is exactly the same. The third and final version is honestly the most pathetic. Here you fight him across the entire planet, giving you so much room to move that his attacks are basically zero threat. The problem with the Undergrunt Gunner is that it never evolves. The design is bland, the fight is repetitive, and the difficulty is non-existent. It's a passable obstacle, but it never feels like a real boss battle. It's the definition of a phoned-in encounter, a recycled idea, used to pad out a galaxy when a better idea was apparently too much. It's not offensively bad, it's just offensively boring. Coming in at number 15, we have
Baron Brrr.
This fight is a perfect example of a great idea let down by ridiculously easy execution. The setting is fantastic, a tiny, icy peak surrounded by a swirling void. The Baron himself has a cool frosty design, like a spectral king of the cold, but then the fight starts and all that atmospheric potential just melts away. The entire fight is just spinning near the Baron to knock him down. He becomes a helpless chunk of ice that you can kick. You kick him once, he gets up, summons a few ice minions that are super easy to dodge, and then you just repeat the process 2 more times. That's it. There's no escalation, no second phase, no clever twist. He has all the menace of a grumpy ice cube. The spectacle is there in the arena, but the fight itself is a total letdown. It feels like the developers designed a cool character in a cool location, but completely forgot to design a cool boss fight to go with them. He's more of a chilly nuisance than a royal threat. And for that, he's frozen near the bottom of this list. Next up is Terrantox, the giant space spider from the Space Junk Galaxy. This guy earns his low ranking by being mechanically simple and just visually repulsive. Let's be honest, nobody likes spiders. And a giant green goop-spitting Archon in the vacuum of space is pure nightmare fuel. The planet you fight it on even looks like some kind of nasty virus. The fight starts with you using a sling pod to launch Mario at its butt, which flips the beast over to expose 3 weak points on its belly. You then use the sling pods to launch Mario into those targets. The mechanic is fine. It uses the game's gravity-defying physics in a basic way, but it's incredibly straightforward. Dodge the green goo, hit its rear, and then hit its belly 3 times. Rinse and repeat. There is a slight increase in the speed of its attacks in the second phase, but the core loop is identical and possesses very little threat. The spectacle is there if you enjoy cosmic body horror, I guess. But for most people, it's just a gross and unpleasant encounter. The fight isn't broken or anything, it's just a one-note gimmick that overstays its welcome the moment it begins. It's a creepy, crawly, and creatively bankrupt encounter. Here we have it, the first official boss of Super Mario Galaxy, the iconic Dino Piranha. This boss holds a special place in a lot of our hearts, and for that nostalgic reason alone, it escapes the absolute bottom of the list. It's the fight that truly kicks off your galactic adventure. The spectacle of this giant egg-encased creature hatching and stomping around its tiny planet is a fastic introduction to the game's incredible sense of scale. The strategy is literally spelled out for you in the first 10 seconds. Get behind it, and spin attack the bulb on its tail. After the first hit, its egg breaks, and it gets a little faster. And that's about it. You just keep running circles around it, whacking its tail, and the fight is over in under a minute. It's designed to be a tutorial, teaching you the classic 3 hits to win structure of Mario bosses, and it serves that purpose perfectly. It's iconic, it's memorable, but it presents no zero challenge. At number 12, we have Top Maniac, the spinning Cyper top from the Battle Rock and Dreadnought Galaxies. This boss is the definition of a mixed bag. On one hand, the core concept is pretty fun. You jump on his head to stop him, then spin him into the electric fence. It feels like a violent game of intergalactic bumper cars, and slamming him into the barrier is genuinely satisfying. The problem is the repetition. The first fight is a decent, if simple, encounter, but then you face him again, and the fight is almost identical. The only real change is a slightly smaller arena and a few more minions. It takes the second encounter feel cheap and uninspired, like a lazy way to fill a boss slot. On top of that, the fight's difficulty is trivial. The little top men he spawns are easily dispatched, and Top Maniac himself is so slow that jumping on his head is a piece of cake. The concept is creative, but its potential is squandered on a fight that's too easy and a sequel that adds nothing new. It's a fun idea that just spins its wheels without ever really going anywhere. Flying into the number 11 spot is Bugaboom, the beefed up bee bomber from the Honey Hive Galaxy. This fight requires Mario to put on the bee suit, a power-up that's perfect for the galaxy's theme, but let's be real, a little clumsy for a boss fight. The goal is to fly above Bugaboom and deliver 3 ground pounds to its back. The fight's main challenge really comes from the controlling Bee Mario. Trying to stay in the air while dodging Bugaboom's charges can be tricky, And if you fall into the water, you lose the power-up and have to start all over. This can lead to some frustrating moments where it feels like you're fighting the controls more than the boss. After the first hit, Bugaboom starts flying around much faster, making it a more elusive target. The spectacle is a decent big, angry bee monster trying to knock you out of the sky, but the fight never feels truly epic. It's a solid, middle-of-the-road encounter that makes good use of a specific power-up, but is held back by the power-up's slightly awkward controls. It's a boss with a bit of a sting, but not enough to be truly memorable. Heating up the number 10 spot is King Caliente, the fiery space octopus you fight twice in the game. This boss is basically a classic game of sensual tennis. King Caliente spits a coconut at you, and you have to spin attack it right back into his face. It's a simple, intuitive mechanic that feels great to pull off. The first fight is very straightforward. You just bat the coconut back and forth until you get 3 hits. The later volleys require you to hit it back multiple times, which adds a nice, simple layer of progression. The second fight though is a huge improvement. Fought in much more dangerous lava environment, Fury King Caliente is more aggressive, his projectiles are faster, and he summons minions to clutter up the battlefield. This version feels like what the boss was always meant to be, a frantic, heated exchange that really tests your timing. His name, a play on the Spanish word for hot, is also a clever little touch. While the first fight is a bit lukewarm, the second one is a solid, enjoyable challenge, earning King Caliente a respectable spot in the middle of our ranking. Digging his way into number 9 is Major Burrows. Found in the beloved Gusty Garden Galaxy, this boss is a frantic and thrilling chase. Major Burrows is a giant Monty Mole who tunnels through a series of small, grassy planets, and your job is to hunt him down. To damage him, you have to ground pound near him to stun him, leaving him vulnerable to a spin attack. The first phase is a simple game of cat and mouse, but where this fight really shines is its final phase. After 2 hits, Major Burrows gets angry. His eyes glow red, the music kicks into high gear, and he starts moving at a terrifying speed. This sudden difficulty spike is genuinely startling on the first playthrough, and transforms the fight into a casual pursuit, into a desperate chase. He becomes much more aggressive, popping up for short periods and creating shockwaves. The spectacle of this giant, furious mole tearing through the planet is fantastic, and the sense of panic it creates is so memorable. The only thing holding him back is that core strategy never really changes. Still, for its incredible pacing and that unforgettable angry face, Major Burrows is a standout mid-tier boss. At number 8, we have the first real rematch on our list, the Fury Dino Piranha. This fight is a textbook example of how to do a remix right. It takes the simple introductory framework of the original Dino Piranha and cranks the heat up to 11, transforming a tutorial into a legitimate threat. This time, Dino Piranha is covered in flames. Its tail, your main target, is now periodically on fire, forcing you to actually time your attacks. But the biggest change is that its speed and aggression. It closes the distance on you so much more effectively, meaning you can no longer just casually jog behind it. It's a perfect bookend that shows you how far you've come, turning one of the easiest bosses into a respectable challenge. Flying into the number 7 spot is Camilla, this magical Kamek. I will have to admit, Camilla, that green lipstick doesn't really suit you well. Anyway, choice aside, much like King Caliente, this fight is all about reflecting projectiles. Camilla flies around, launching fireballs and the occasional green shell at you. Your job is to grab that shell and chuck it right back at her. The first fight is a solid introduction to this. It's fun, a little chaotic, and battling on the deck is a rickety spaceship just feels right. But it's the second encounter in the deep dark galaxy that truly elevates this boss. Fought above a black hole, this version is significantly harder. Camilla becomes much more evasive, teleporting around the arena to dodge your shots. She also summons 2 Magikoopas to help her, filling the screen with a barrage of projectiles you have to weave through while you're trying to land your own hit. This turns the fight into a frantic bullet hell that requires constant movement and awareness. The Daredevil version of this fight is especially brutal, a single touch that can mean instant failure. For its great evolution and the genuinely chaotic challenge of its second form, Camilla proves she's way more than just a regular Magikoopa. Swimming into the number 6 position is the skeletal shark beast Kingfin, the one and only underwater boss in Super Mario Galaxy. This fight is incredibly decisive, but I believe its uniqueness and sheer presence earn it a high spot. Fought in the secret Bonefin Galaxy, the battle against Kingfin feels completely different from every other encounter in the game. The spectacle is just off the charts. You're in a vast, dark body of water when this colossal skeletal shark emerges, its glowing eyes locking right onto you. The atmosphere is genuinely unnerving. Kingfin doesn't attack you directly at first. Instead, he summons an army of homing shark-like torpedoes to hunt you down. Your only defense is to grab the shells swimming nearby and fire them at the giant beast. This fight is also a rare exception to the 3-hit rule, requiring a hefty 5 hits to take down. With each successful hit, he summons more minions, turning the final phase into a swirling vortex of aquatic death. The underwater controls can be frustrating for some, but they add to the feeling of being in a hostile alien environment. Kingfin is imposing, mechanically unique, and a memorial difficulty spike. Stomping into our top 5 is Megaleg, the colossal robot from Bowser Jr.'s Robot Reactor. This boss is pure, unadulterated spectacle. In a game that's already defined by its grand sense of scale, Megaleg still manages to be absolutely jaw-dropping. You land on the planetoid and realize you're standing at the feet of a robot so massive it and its own gravitational pull. The fight itself is less about direct combat and more about navigating a giant moving obstacle course. You climb up its body, dodging cannon fire and weaving through fleets of bullet bills. The goal is to reach the top and lure one of its own bullet bills into the glass cage, protecting the Grand Star. The sheer thrill of scaling this metal behemoth with the camera pulling back to show you just how tiny Mario is one of the most cinematic moments in the entire game. Once the main cage is broken, you have to do it again, this time luring bullet bills into a smaller revolving cage at its very peak. The fight isn't that hard. Luring bullet bills is a familiar task, but it's the presentation that makes it so unforgettable. It's a battle that prioritizes over complex difficulty, and it succeeds completely. Megaleg feels less like a boss fight and more like a pivotal scene in a summer blockbuster. Obviously, I would have combined them both, but I really didn't. So charging into the number 4 spot are the first 2 showdowns against the Koopa King himself. While the final battle is in a league of its own, these initial fights are fantastic appetizers that establish the stakes and the core mechanics of your rivalry. These fights introduce the brilliant central gimmick, tricking Bowser into ground-pounding glass domes, which shatter and plunge him into lava. This makes him catch fire and run around the planet in a panic, allowing you to get a hit in. The feeling of turning Bowser's own brute strength against him is just so satisfying. The second phase, where you get launched into the air and spin attack a dizzied Bowser across the cosmos, feels amazing and perfectly captures the game's physics-based fun. The second encounter builds on this, introducing new attacks like a shockwave stomp and a fiery breath that encircles the planet, forcing you to be more mobile. These fights are dripping with spectacle, from the epic orchestral score to the visual of Bowser turning into a flaming comet. They perfectly build his threat level throughout the game, setting the stage for the epic finale to come. Firing all cylinders at number 3 is the incredible battle against Bowser Jr.'s Airship Armada. This fight is a masterclass in dynamic, action-packed design. It's not just a duel, it's a full-scale naval battle in the skies. The spectacle immediate and constant, 2 massive airships trading cannon fire, with smaller ships flying around. Unlike most fights on a single planet, this battle has you and Bowser Jr. on a separate moving platforms. He bombards your ship with cannonballs while you have to jump on Koopa Troopas, grab their shells, and hurl them at his warship. Taking part in this ship-to-ship combat feels completely unique. After you deal enough damage, Bowser Jr. turns his ship to face you head-on, launching a massive, screen-filling cannon barrage that you have to dodge while continuing your assault. It feels like a genuine war zone, a level of cinematic action that few other bosses in the series have ever achieved. For its sheer creativity and incredible spectacle, Bowser Jr.'s Airship Armada is easily one of the best bosses in the game. Emerging from the haunted depths of the ghostly galaxy to claim the silver medal is the one and only legendary Bouldergeist. For many players, the battle theme alone is enough to tell you this is no ordinary foe. It's intense, pumping, and dead serious. Bouldergeist is a giant rock monster who attacks by hurling stones and summoning spectral hands to slam you. Your only way to damage him is to use Bomboos. You have to grab one, get close, and swing it into him to break apart his rocky armor. This reveals his ghostly true form, which you then have to attack again. The second phase, when he detaches his hands to act on their own, is a brilliant escalation that dramatically increases the pressure. But what truly cements Bouldergeist's legacy is his daredevil run. Facing this relentless assault of rocks, ghosts, and giant fists with only a single point of health is one of the most daunting challenges in Mario history. It's a fight that is perfectly balanced, challenging but fair, complex but readable. It combines creative mechanics, high difficulty, and awesome spectacle to create a truly top-tier encounter. Okay guys, before we get to our number 1 pick, if you're enjoying the cosmic journey, consider subscribing for more deep dives and rankings. I'd love to hear who you think is taking the top spot. But now, let's crown the king of the cosmos. And now, at the very top of our list is the undisputed king of the cosmos, the greatest boss in Super Mario Galaxy, is the final epic showdown with Bowser. This isn't just a boss fight, it's a climatic conclusion that brings together everything you've learned on your journey and delivers one of the most satisfying finales in video game history. This battle is a multi-stage epic. It starts on a small planet where Bowser, now a stone behemoth, curls into a ball and tries to crush you. You have to use the Terran to launch him into the air, flipping him over to expose his weak point. The next phase, he sees him turn into a spiky metal ball, forcing you to use the local plants as makeshift flippers to knock him into oblivion. The fight then returns to the classic formula, but with the intensity cranked way up. Bowser is more aggressive, the attacks are faster, and the music swells to an incredible crescendo. The sheer spectacle is breathtaking. You're fighting on a series of tiny planets orbiting a dying sun, with the entire universe seemingly at stake. The music is arguably the best in the game. Operatic score that perfectly captures the gravity of the final confrontation. What makes this fight so perfect is how it feels like a true test of everything you learned. It requires precise platforming, clever use of the environment, and mastery of Mario's moveset. It's challenging, creative, and unbelievably cinematic. Smacking Bowser from planet to planet at super high speeds is an exhilarating power trip. From the gameplay to the presentation, the final battle with Bowser is a masterpiece. It is the perfect conclusion to a nearly perfect game, and without a doubt, the single best boss fight in Super Mario Galaxy. And that's the list. From the lowly Mandy Bug stack to the epic final clash with Bowser. The bosses of Super Mario Galaxy are varied and imaginative bunch. While some are definitely weaker than others, the high points of this roster are some of the most creative, spectacular encounters in any 3D platformer. Thanks for joining me on this galactic ranking. What did you think of my list? Who is your number one? Let me know your full ranking in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the games we love. Until next time, keep reaching for the stars.